because it's not about the tool you choose to use, but how you use it that's going to count at the end of the day. I have seen people with free spreadsheets succeed significantly more than somebody who invested in, say, Salesforce, which is actually very expensive. The answer is not because. So welcome back to Business Fundamentals with me, Alyssa, the Business Cowgirl. On this channel, we talk about businesses, technology, and how to actually get the best bang for your buck when it comes to implementing new technology in your business. Because whether we're talking about automations, integrations, AI, CRMs, it doesn't really matter because it's not about the tool you choose to use, but how you use it that's going to count at the end of the day. And whether or not you see an ROI on that investment is directly going to be correlated to how you use the tool and not the tool you choose to use. Because I have seen people with free spreadsheets succeed significantly more than somebody who invested in, say, Salesforce, which is actually very expensive. But the answer is not because somebody invested or didn't invest in the software. It's how they're using the tools they have at their disposal. So I have come up with 4 questions that any business can ask themselves to see if you pass or fail on a business efficiency test. And when it comes to business efficiency, especially when it comes to technology, one of the key ingredients to asking yourself these questions is not to think about it from a technology perspective. And I know that sounds a little crazy, right? Like I'm like, okay, let's take a business technology test and not include the technology. Obviously, when you first hear that, you might be thinking like, huh? What are we talking about?
Well, this girl has no idea what she's talking about.
Hear me out on that one. Because one thing that happens when people start thinking about their business operations and the technology that it takes to operate their business is they immediately go into problem-solving mode and they're not able to take a step back and look at the business on a macro level and actually look at, okay, this CRM or this automation tool, this marketing software, this, or this, that. How is that actually impacting the business as a whole? And it's not about the tool at that point. It's actually about the business ecosystem. So here are 4 questions you can easily ask yourself to find out if you're passing the business efficiency test. So the first question is, how do you feel about your daily to-do list? Do you have a neat, organized way that you have all of your tasks laid out? That's CRM 101. Having a dashboard where you have, to-dos pop up, or you have an email way, or you're using Jira or some other type of task management system. But of course, when it comes to building out automations and business operations, you have to take into account, it doesn't help to send somebody 10,000 emails. Like that's not going to help them get their daily work done. So the question becomes, okay, is there a way we can lay out somebody's daily to-dos that is 1, organized, but 2, not super stressful? Because work is stressful enough. However, if you then add on top of that, and I have no idea what I need to do or where to look, then that's going to fail the efficiency test. It's important for your employees to have a to-do list, but not to feel like their to-do list is stressful or takes any energy away from what those to-dos are. Because think about it this way. If your employees are calm and they already know exactly where to go for what they need to do that day, then all of the energy they would have spent stressing about finding their to-do list would be used on the actual to-dos themselves. So, question, pass, fail. Are you passing or failing the to-do list efficiency test? And that could be anyone from the CEO down to the janitor, because that's not just a one-person thing or a one-role thing. That's an everybody thing.
Teamwork makes the dream work.
So the second question on your business efficiency test is, if you were going to outsource any task in your business, would you be able to explain your process to somebody else? Of course, this does not mean that somebody else has to do the process. It means, would you be able to explain it to somebody else so that they could even try? Most people listening to this video might find that they have tasks on their to-do list they would not be able to explain to another person. And what that means is that the way you're doing it is complicated. And all that means is that there's an opportunity for improvement there. Just because you don't know how to improve it doesn't mean there aren't people in the world that do know how to improve it. And you're failing the efficiency test if you're unwilling to ask the question of, how do we make this better? So pass, fail. Just simply, could you explain it to another human being and them say, I understand what you are saying to me right now? If you cannot explain how you do your work, then you're failing the business efficiency test. So the third question in the business efficiency test is, How do you respond when your technology inevitably breaks? Because I think besides death and taxes, technology breaking is the only other thing we can count on 100%. And when it comes to technology breaking, that's obviously very frustrating. Like, I'm not negating the fact that that's a frustrating thing to deal with.
But
How you deal with that, there are levels to this, because there's somebody who their technology breaks and they are the person who goes, I know exactly how I'm going to deal with this because I know exactly where to look and or who to go to so that this problem can be resolved as quickly as possible. And then there's the person who the technology breaks and they're like, the world is ending, life is not worth living, and
Obviously the drama queen version.
that speaks to whether or not before the technology breaks, because like I said, that's inevitable, do you have a system for when your technology breaks? Because that means that when things break, you're not going to lose any traction. You may be slowed down, but you're not totally derailed.
I have a feeling a lot of people are going to fail that one.
And the fourth and final question in the business efficiency test is, do all of your employees do their workflows the exact same way? Or, for instance, if you went to ask, like say a 5-person team, and you go ask them, you say, okay, how do you set meetings with your clients? Do all 5 of those people have a different answer to that question? And if they do, then you are failing this final business efficiency test. And the reason being 5 different ways of performing one task, that means that there's inevitably going to be the best way to do it and the worst way to do it. And the person who's doing it the best way is not helping the other people. And the person who's doing it the worst way is wasting time, not only for business efficiency, but for brand consistency and whatnot. So within your team, everybody does things a different way, then you're failing the business efficiency test. If you don't have everybody performing to the best of their ability,
Then that's not being efficient.
I know you know this on a deep subconscious level.
that is the fourth and final test that you may be passing or failing. I'm curious, tell me in the comments down below, of these 4 things, which ones are you passing or failing on? But if you pass all 4, then congratulations. That is an amazing achievement. But I have a feeling that nobody passed all 4 because everybody has a different focus when it comes to implementing technology. And after 8 years of being a business technical consultant, if you're failing at one, it just is room for improvement, and it's not actually a bad thing to fail any of these tests. It's how you find the problems and fix those problems as fast as possible. So if you want to have a longer conversation about how to actually find and diagnose the problems that are happening in your business technical infrastructure, then there's a link below to do a consulting with me personally. And after the number of years that I have been solving technical problems for businesses, I can promise you that whatever you think your problem is probably not your problem. So if you ever want to have a longer conversation with someone who's actually just been doing this for like 9 years now,
Oh my God.
when it comes to technological infrastructure in your business, efficiency in your business, if you never actually outsource it to somebody outside the business, in the sense that everybody who works in your business is a little biased toward how things have been going the whole time that they've been there, versus when you have an outside perspective come in, then they all of a sudden start asking questions that you've never asked yourself, because they're not coming in being like, well, this is how we've always done it. And the reality is sometimes how you've always done it is the best way, but sometimes how you've always done it is just a way. So if you want to have a longer conversation about how to actually be efficient and effective in your business, then there's a link down below. Otherwise, there are a ton of videos on this channel that talk all about how to successfully implement AI and other technologies in your business. And if that is of interest to you, which it's of interest to a lot of people these days, I'll see you there.